De la Rite, my MVVs, welcome.
The sacred rite called Oferin'ade. Oh God, oh, please help me, oh please, De la Rite, please don't be angry, pronounce it yourself, okay? Why it was the final door for Queen Naomi's, public return, and why the gods do not spare anyone who tries to ruin it. They say the sacred rite known as Oferin'ade is not just another ritual in Yoruba tradition. It is the spiritual hinge between which the legitimacy of a queen's return reset. It is the final door, the seal, the divine knot that says this woman is not just beloved, she is restored, recognized, and enthroned again by the gods, the ancestors, and the people. For Queen Naomi, after two powerful full moon rituals were successfully completed, the Oferin'ade was the last step, and without it, everything that had been done remained suspended in sacred or uncertainty. If not, that the Oni of Ife was led by the spirit, led by the gods, the most respected Iyanifa in the whole Yoruba history. If that woman had not been there, or more, hey, this morning a lot of us would have been crying. To the untrained eyes, Oferin'ade may appear ceremonial, but to traditionalists, it is the most dangerous of all right to interrupt, manipulate, or corrupt. Why? Because Oferin'ade does not only involve human actors, it involves the gods themselves as witnesses. The rite is conducted at the spiritual threshold. At that moment, it is said that the earth opens slightly and ancestral spirit gather to listen. Any man, be he king, chief, or priest, who tampers with the ritual for selfish reason is judged immediately. The gods do not delay, and in Yoruba history, there have been painful and frightening examples of this. Now, to understand its importance, one must first know what the Oferin'ade entails. The word itself, Oferin'ade, means the chant of crown restoration. It is a rite traditionally conducted by high-ranking chief or monarch from outside the queen's own city or the king's own city, often selected from regions with deep ancestral ties to Ile-Ife. These representatives bring the spiritual weight of other kingdoms to validate and seal a queen's return. Okay, are you guys hearing? De la Rite. Hey, for those of you who still want to marry Oni of Ife, you try. Guy, people should allow Queen Naomi enjoy her marriage. She's equal to the tax. I will not lie to you. I will not be able. I cannot be able. At all. They say the process begins with a sacred recitation known as Oriki Ayangalu, calling upon the drumming spirit who allowed the ancestors. Then a three-legged stool with the datum of Ife. This is placed at the center of the groove. On that stool rests a symbolic crown, usually carved from white wood, dusted with powder, camwood, and sealed in palm frond. The invited chiefs are required to pour libation using a sacred blend of palm wine, honey, and ancestral oil. Break kola nut, offering it in 4 directions: east, west, north, and south. Lead a chant declaring the queen's spiritual reacceptance into the royal lineage. Release a white dove symbolizing peace and divine approval. Only after these 4 actions is the queen considered publicly restored, not just to her husband, but to the spiritual governance of the land. Okay? Now, what happened when men try to interrupt or, pervert this process for personal gains? History has shown us clearly. They said the God will strike and strike very hard. And they said that was why Kabiyesi was just, laugh, as in smiling, because Kabiyesi saw what was coming. They calm. They say Kabiyesi was very calm while Naomi was crying and other people were crying. Paropo's wife was crying. Queen Naomi's mother was crying. Other people were crying because they thought the ritual had failed. But Kabiyesi saw everything. Kabiyesi knew everything. Kabiyesi just knew that, look, you see these people. They don't know what they are playing with. Me as I am, I cannot even wait for Kabiyesi to remove that immunity from those women. This is exactly what will happen to them. They said that in the past, there are documented oral tradition recorded in the sacred scrolls of, Ile, Oyo, Ijesha, and Ondo of 3 chiefs who paid with their life after attempting to manipulate Oferin'ade for political or monetary reason. The first was Chief Doro Jaye Agboran, okay, from the towns of Irish in present-day Osun State. In the early 18th century, during the reign of Oba Afuwakpe of Ile-Ife, Chief Doro Jaye was invited to witness the Oferin'ade of a returning queen who had been banished for 10 years. The king loved her deeply and had sought divine approval for her return, but Chief Doro Jaye, influenced by a rival palace faction, accepted bribe to disrupt the rite. On the day of the ritual, he changed one of the incantations, replacing a line of blessing with a curse disguised in poetic language. Yes, so because like what happened to Queen Naomi, that one too, that you see that queen they are talking about, they say they framed her up and she was banished for 10 years and the husband wanted her back. As soon as he spoke the wind around the groove, ceased. They say as soon as that chief spoke, the wind around the groove ceased. Birds stopped flying. The calabash of libation cracked, without being touched. He began to sweat uncontrollably and collapsed by the sacred stool. Before the night ended, he died in convulsions, foam in his mouth, surrounded by silence. No one dared touch his body until a cleansing rite was performed 3 days later. That was what happened to a chief then. In the 18th century, Dela Rite. The second was Chief Ayegbayo Adedokun, a respected elder from Akure, invited during the controversial ritual of Queen Moriyeba, the second wife of an Eastern Yoruba king. Chief Ayegbaye was believed to have been neutral, but later it was discovered he had been secretly paid by another woman in the palace who wanted to block the queen's restoration. He did not bring the sacred dove, which is a part of the Oferin'ade ritual, which when confronted, he claimed the bird escaped. The king was angry but allowed the ritual to continue. That night, Chief Ayegbaye began to bleed from his nose while asleep in the palace guest quarters. He was found by morning, a strange palm leaf tied around his foot, something no one in the palace had seen before. It was concluded by Ifa priest that the gods had struck him with Arunibi, a spiritual affliction sent only to men who lie at sacred, threshold. There is another one, The third and most famous was Chief Kolakpo Olatunji from Ilesha, who served as the lead officiant during the failed Oferin'ade's attempt of Queen Tanimola in the 1930s. This case remained one of the most terrifying in Yoruba oral tradition. Chief Kolakpo had publicly opposed the queen's return, despite ancestral approval. In private, he accepted gold and livestock to publicly disgrace her during the rite by accusing her of adultery. Something completely fabricated. During the rite, as he raised his staff to begin the chant, lightning struck the ground beside him on a clear, cloudless night. Witnesses say he screamed, fell to his knee, and began to bark like a dog. He was taken away in spiritual chains and, by a madman 6 weeks later. These 3 examples are not based superstitions. They are warning egg into the spiritual history of Yoruba land. The Oferin'ade is not a stage for political warfare or spiritual agenda. It is a meeting point of the visible and the invisible. To pollute that space is to challenge not man but the gods. And let these people continue to challenge the gods. They will continue to pay. As long as they say Queen Naomi will not return, they will continue to pay. This is what has been going on in the palace. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media. Should not be seen as fact.